Welcome back once again. Today we shall discuss on this topic: why many Christians are losing faith today. This is a deep Christian teaching that enables us to understand the major reason why our Christian faith seems to be getting down day after day. Because faith is one of the strongest foundations of the Christian life. It is what helps a believer trust God in difficult times, remain hopeful during suffering, and continue working with God even when life becomes confusing. Without faith, the Christian journey becomes weak, unstable, and easily shaken. Yet, today many Christians are silently losing their faith. Some no longer pray as they used to. Some have stopped going to church. Others still attend services, but deep inside, they are filled with doubt, disappointment, and spiritual emptiness. Many still call themselves Christians, but their hearts are far from the confidence they once had in God. This is a painful reality in modern Christianity. To understand this better, consider the story of a young man named Daniel. Daniel grew up in a Christian home. From childhood, he was taught to pray, read the Bible, and trust God. He served in church, joined youth programs, and believed strongly that God would guide his life. But as he grew older, life became harder. He prayed for admission into school, but it did not come. He prayed for financial help, but his family continued struggling. He trusted God for healing when his mother became sick, but she passed away. That moment changed everything. Daniel became confused. He asked questions he had never asked before. Why would God allow this? Why do bad people seem to prosper? Why good people suffer? If God hears prayers, why did mine feel ignored? At first, he kept these questions to himself. But slowly, disappointment turned into distance. He started praying regularly. Worshipping felt empty. Church became routine, not relationship. But eventually, Daniel said something many people are afraid to admit. I still believe God exists, but I no longer feel close to Him. This experience reflects what many Christians are facing today. Faith is often lost quietly, not in one dramatic moment, but through repeated disappointment, unanswered questions, and hidden pain. One major reason many Christians lost faith is unanswered prayers. People are often taught that if they pray enough, fast enough, or believe strongly enough, God will respond exactly as they expect. But life does not always work that way. Sometimes prayers seem delayed. Sometimes the answer is slow. And sometimes heaven feels silent. When expectations, are not met, disappointment enters. Many people mistake God's silence for God's absence. But silence is not abandonment. The Bible is full of people who experienced waiting seasons. Abraham waited years for God's promise. Joseph suffered long before his breakthrough. Job cried in pain before restoration came. Faith is not proven when prayers are answered quickly. It is proven when trust remains even in silence. Another reason many Christians lose faith is lack of patience and endurance. Christians lost faith in church, and it hurts them because of what? They are impatient. Some people have been deeply wounded by those they trusted in spiritual spaces. They were manipulated, judged unfairly, ignored in their pain, or disappointed by leaders. they believed represented God. A false pastor, a hypocritical leader, or a toxic church environment can leave lasting scars. That's why many people walk away from Christianity, not because they rejected God, but because they were hurt by people who claimed to represent Him. This is why it is important to remember God is perfect, but people are not. A fake pastor does not cancel the truth of Christ. Human failure should not replace divine truth. Still, healing from church hurt takes time, and many struggle. Even those who go to church frequently struggles with rebuilding trust. Another cause is the pressure of the modern world. Today's generation is surrounded by distractions, social media, material successes, comparison, entertainment, and constant noise. Many people are so busy surviving life that spiritual growth becomes secondary. Prayer becomes shorter. Bible study becomes rare. Faith becomes emotional instead of rooted. When spiritual discipline disappears, faith weakens. Thus, as a body becomes weak without food, the soul becomes weak without spiritual nourishment. There is also the challenge of unanswered intellectual questions. Some Christians struggle because they were taught what to believe, but never taught why they believe it. When difficult questions arise about suffering, science, religion, or doubt, they feel unprepared. Faith should not fear honest questions. In fact, strong faith often grows through sincere questioning and deep understanding. That is why Thomas doubted, David questioned, even Job asked God difficult things. The problem is not about asking questions. The problem is giving up before seeking truth. Another hidden reason many Christians lost faith is comparison. They see others receiving miracles, breakthroughs, marriages, jobs, and testimonies while they remain in waiting. Slowly they begin to wonder if God has forgotten them. Comparison turns faith into frustration. They stop trusting God's plan and start measuring their worth by someone else's timeless. But God's timing is personal. Delay is not rejection. Sometimes what feels like being left behind is actually divine preparation. Returning to Daniel's story, there came a day when he sat alone and honestly spoke to God, not with polished religious words, but with broken honesty. He said, "Lord, I am disappointed. I am confused. I do not understand. But I do not want to lose you." That prayer changed something. Not instantly, but gradually. He began to realize that faith is not the absence of questions. It is choosing to trust even while questions remain. He learned that Christianity is not built on perfect feelings, but on faithful God. His pain did not disappear overnight, but his perspective changed. He stopped asking only, "Why is this happening?" I started asking, "How can God use this?" That shift restored hope. So, my dear beloved, many Christians are losing faith today because life is hard, disappointment is rare, and spiritual struggles are often hidden behind religious appearances. People are battling unanswered prayers, church hurts, worldly distractions, comparison, and silent doubt. But losing faith does not have to be the end of the story. Faith can be rebuilt sometimes stronger than before, because true faith is not pretending everything is fine. It is trusting God when life is not fine. It is believing when feelings are weak. It is holding on to God when nothing else makes sense. Christianity is not for perfect people. It is for people who seek and keep returning to God, even with tears, questions, and scars. And perhaps that is the deepest truth. Faith is not proven by how loudly you worship in your times, but by how tightly you hold on to God in the dark. Because even when many are losing faith, God is still reaching to them. Thank you. See you in the next video.